relationships, etc.
What's he about?
He's just a YouTuber. He blew the fuck up. Like he's one of the few that aren't like biased. They're not like all about like um. He's not all about like he doesn't do like the red pill bullshit. You know what I mean? He's just very practical and uses data to back his his statements, which are great. So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing.
What is wait? What is it? What's the name?
Orion Taraban. He's I truly think him and one other lady are the only two people I would ever listen to in terms of like relationship advice. Orion Taraban. But yeah. Or you can look up Psych Hacks. His YouTube channel is called Psych Hacks. Okay, so he's just a psychologist.
I subscribe to this so I don't forget. All right, I'll look into it. That's cool. Oh, yeah. I love these this art style these got here. I think it's like Art Deco. I think it's Art Deco. It's the art style. I had a friend who was generating a bunch of images like this, and I always love them. But yeah, okay, let me
recording?
Pull up my notes. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, not that it necessarily needs to go on the internet or anything. It's just,
I don't care.
I've been struggling so hard to like get to a point where I feel comfortable saying this out loud to the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you.
So I think I need like a lot of practice runs, and
you know, it's crazy. My YouTube problems are not that. My YouTube problems are more the fact that my cameras, I have a little Canon, and because I can't see, I don't have like that flippy thing where you can see yourself when I face it to you. Because I can't see it, I'm always worried that the shot is gonna be off, and I look at it and I'm like, it's a little off, and I have to adjust it a little bit, and then I go back, and that gets so annoying that I just quit. You know, I'm like, if I had a camera, like, you know, where I can just see myself. I mean, a phone is fine, but I'd rather have a legitimate camera. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm very particular. That's my issue. I gotta stop that.
Yeah. It is actually been, dude. It's been such a journey because there's so many considerations, and I've absolutely been like completely stuck in analysis paralysis, just like going back and forth on just like different like things you could do.
Yep.
And it is not good at all. Like it's really, it's been extremely problematic. It's like at this rate, like it's gonna be, it's basically just like I was kind of hoping / pretending that this would be like a career option, you know, like being on YouTube. Yeah. And now I'm just like, fuck, dude, it's gonna be this hard every time you make a video.
I don't think it's well.
I mean, like, I hope it's not, but also just like, there's obvious like mental blocks that I didn't anticipate being there, and so.
You know, there was this YouTuber that I highly respect. He's a van lifer, and he's like, he was showing what he looks like trying to record, and he's like, sometimes I will stare at the camera for 2 hours, and I'll just say something like, "Hey guys, how's it going? My name is." Hey guys, how's it going? My name is, and he just keep doing that for literally an hour, and he has a whole video for like an hour, just him doing that, just to show how ridiculous it is. And everybody's like, "You're really brave for showing this," you know, like, and he's like, "Yeah, you just have to you have to upload it." You know what I mean? People are gonna understand like you're not a robot. You're not like a news reporter. You're just trying to do your best.
Yeah, you know? I've been thinking that also, just like, because another thing is like my van is really ugly inside, and I do not want to show the world my van because I feel like, because basically it's like it shows my midlife crisis. Like I feel like how ugly my van is like absolutely indicative of the fact that I have been going through a midlife crisis.
Bro, I don't.
And
I mean, if you say so.
And I just like, and for the longest time, I was like, I cannot show that. I do not watch that. And then I'm recently thinking, like, maybe I might actually need that. Might actually be like the secret sauce, is just to literally show exactly what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
And that has been like a really tough pill to swallow, also. And it's just like, fuck. I actually have like notes on all the like mental hangups that I've like journeyed through so far on like the path to like getting myself onto YouTube, and it's probably been like 6 or 7 different like individual like major issues that have come up one at a time and just been like, I can't do it. You know?
Well, I have a YouTube video of me living in my minivan. on YouTube. Yeah, and people were like, "This is crazy. This is cool." And yeah, I was with a girl I literally met and known for 3 months, and she was like, "I want to live with you," and I'm like, "Fuck it, I don't care. Like, I'm just gonna do this." And then so we ended up
moving. Wow.
yeah, in a minivan, bro. And eventually, I think I might have told you, but we had 5 people living in my minivan.
Fuck. That's such a wild and cool story.
Yeah, and one of them was as tall as you. He's like 6'2" or something. And the guy kept fucking farting and shit. But other than that, like, he was great. You know, like, it was just really tough living with 5 other people in a minivan.
Yeah, but also like you did it. That's an insane story. That's like a testament to human achievement.
Yeah, bro. But it was fun, man. I mean, I think people like something different. I mean, I don't think your van is dirty or anything like that or messy. I think it's your custom van, and I think people are gonna go like, yeah, this is like totally normal, especially in California. Nobody's gonna be like, wait a minute, he lives in a. I'm so shocked by this. Like, nobody does that anymore. In 2025, hell no. I've never heard anybody like.
It's tough. It's tough.
But I get it. I understand.
Hold on, let me pull up the script really quick and let's see if I can. Okay, here's another thing that I've been dealing with, which is basically this is something that I call it the fractal nature of reality, which I think a lot of philosophers have identified that like everything's interconnected. So you talk about one issue, it necessarily leads to other issues, which necessarily lead to other issues, and so it's just like you can't. There is no one topic that is like a complete thing by itself.
Yeah.
So like, everything's connected, and to fully explain one thing, you have to get into other things. And so it's just like that's another thing. I actually don't think it's going to be a huge problem for me because I like it's like I'll be like, okay, we're going to talk about this, and then at the end we're going to be like, there's more to it, but we'll talk about it another time, which is fine. But yeah, just like also like finding that delineation point where it feels like okay, I've said enough to where like people feel like I've made sense, but also not so much that it feels like I'm rambling on forever, you know?
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, so basically, I've been calling this interpersonal chemistry because I think that
Oh, those are notes? I thought that was code.
I write my notes in Vim, which it does look like and it is sort of made for anything. Anyways. I've been calling this interpersonal chemistry because I think that, like, essentially, that's what romance is. But I'll explain because so it's basically 2 things: safety and mutual improvement. So there's a spectrum of purpose in relationships, from nurturing to challenging, and the purpose of a nurturing relationship is to help you achieve your potential. And the purpose of a challenging relationship is to help you expand your maximum potential. Okay. So basically, that is the safety and mutual improvement, the nurturing and the challenging. That is those 2 sides, and that's basically what interpersonal chemistry is. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself here. So you basically need a healthy middle ground between these 2 things. So the problem is that people are trying to navigate the world. They're trying to basically make sense of the chaos of the world. And actually, I feel like it makes sense to talk about confidence here. So
Confidence?
Yeah. Okay. I love how you reconstruct this in the opposite.
I was looking at that.
Oh, so confidence is basically like contextual understanding. And like, so I've been thinking mostly about like interpersonal, like human relationships. And so like, I think like for the most part, like social confidence is like understanding of social dynamics. And people like other people who are confident because when you're confident, I'm trying to make sense of the chaos of the world. And when you're confident, you're telegraphing certainty, basically. Or if you don't know exactly what's going on, it's usually like you are confident enough to make a quick decision. So what you're doing is reducing the chaos in my ability to perceive the world. Like you are making things simpler for me, and so that's why people like people confident, because you're reducing my empathetic workload. I don't have to work as hard when I'm
Right.
around somebody who's confident. It's to say nothing of like if you like me and if I like you, it's just like confident people. I mean, as long as you're not an enemy, you
Right.
are reducing the amount of work that I need to do in order to make sense of the world. And so that's why people like confident people. And this is very interrelated to interpersonal chemistry because like in order to have interpersonal chemistry,
I was gonna put it on the card, but also the expense of the item, the packaging.
so you want to have like a middle ground between this element of like safety and challenge. And I don't know if you've heard of John Gottman did this study. He called it the magic ratio study, where like basically trying to identify the optimal ratio of positive and negative interactions in relationships. And the ratio that they identified was like minimum of 5 to 1 positive and negative interactions, and a maximum of 20 to 1 positive and negative interactions. Which the important detail for me of this study is that you can be too nice. That is like that was I think like the
You can't be too nice.
you can be too nice. Yeah, and that was like the bit of information that actually started me down this journey. I think because it like stuck in my mind. I was like, why can you be too nice? And also like, what does that mean? But also I think that it's like it's not like a mystery. I think everyone intuits that you can be too nice.
Yeah.
But also just like having that information, like you can be too nice without any explanation, like really stuck in my mind. I was like, that feels like you should be able to explain that. Because it's obvious why you can be too mean, you know, or I'm not nice enough. But it's not obvious the other way around why that is.
So you don't. So what is your explanation as to why people don't like people who are too nice?
Okay, this is so interesting. I think it's because you have no buy-in, and it goes back to this sort of confidence thing. Like people are trying to make sense of the world. They're trying to like navigate the chaos of the world, and there's chaos in the world. There's also chaos inside of yourself, and so basically, you're constantly provisioning effort to watch out for enemies and to watch out for like accidents and like guard yourself against the chaos in the world, but also against the chaos in yourself. You have chaos inside of you, and you're also watching your own back to make sure you don't like betray yourself, make sure that you don't make a fool of yourself. And so when I like you, but I'm willing to challenge you, it means that it implies that I am also willing to watch out for enemies, but also keep you from making a fool of yourself, like stop you if you're about to do that, right? And so it's basically you need, like Gottman says that there's a maximum, like no more than 20 to 1 positive and negative interactions. But I think that to be honest, I haven't looked into his stuff that much, so he might like go deeper into trying to explain this. But it's like my perception is that you need some pushback in order to signal like real friendship, like investment.
Yeah.
Right. It's like because if I like you, but I'm not willing to stop you for like to push back on you and like and disagree with you at all, then it means that like it's kind of like sort of mercenary, very sort of like almost like an employee, like I'm only here for the good things you can do for me. I'm not invested in you at all. Like if something bad were to happen to you, I wouldn't really care, and so yeah, it's like it's not just that like in a relationship. Like I think most people when they hear this, they're thinking like a marriage, or like some like established relationship. I think it's more than that. So it's like literally any relationship whatsoever is going to feel fake. Not just feel fake, be fake. If there isn't some minimum amount of negative in order to signal investment, signal buy-in.
Do you think the fakeness is what people don't like? I think some people want that, in my opinion, because like especially when you meet newer people, like you have to hi, and like it's great to meet you, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, sure, but also this is like part of the nuance though. Is like if you want to put somebody that you are meeting, like first meeting at ease, you want to challenge the status quo. This is part of like my other thing about like how to flirt effectively, but basically like you want to challenge something, like challenge the status quo, which is like an indirect challenge to them, or challenge them on something, and that will like put them at ease. and makes them feel like more safe around you because they it's kind of counterintuitive, but also totally makes sense because
Makes sense to me.
yeah, yeah. But hold on, so I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but basically, yeah. So it's like this is like the minimum requirement for a real friendship is a little bit of negativity in the positive negative ratio, right? You have to have that little bit of token negativity in order to signal enough buy-in so that I know this is real. And basically, this is, I think, what romance is a sexual relationship where like mutual challenge is a prominent factor. Because like you think about it, like you can have marriage, you can have children, you have the nuclear family, you have all of the benefits that come from marriage in society, and also like everything else. But if you don't have challenge in the relationship, it's not romantic. It's just sexual. You know?
Would you consider that to be romantic or just attraction?
I think that is the defining characteristic of like romance. It's not to say that it is only about romance. I think like it's basically interpersonal chemistry. Like this is basically like the defining characteristic of interpersonal chemistry. It's like I am willing to challenge you, and that means that you can you don't have to provision as much effort to watch your own back or watch out for enemies because you know that I can help you do that. So you can use that energy that you would provision for that for other things that you care about more. And also, it's like a double-edged sword. Now I feel safe around you, but also the challenge is implies that I can help you make yourself better, right? I can help you expand your maximum potential.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just like that's like the optimum relationship is where you have like a tension between the positive and negative. Like that line of being too nice and that line of being too negative. Like you have a tension between those two like boundaries. That's like the optimum relationship. And I think that's why like it's really what flirting is like when you maintain a ratio, like a tension between those two lines. And it's not to say that flirting is necessarily sexual or romantic, but it's like that is like the defining characteristic of flirting. It's the defining characteristic of romance, really.
I think personally, I think romance, flirting, etc., is very much like dancing. Like there's challenge involved. There are these intricate moves where you have to be like in sync.
Let's keep turning.
Is this off?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
I wonder if we can just turn it off. Yeah, just hold down the button on the back.
Oh, that one?
Yeah. Alright. I was thinking to one here. I'll just take it.
You want to start over or like? I don't mind.
No.
Maybe I should do that too. But yeah, no, I think it's more like a dance, meaning like it's synchronous in a way, but there's a challenge involved. Clearly, it's intimate. Like you guys are super close. Sometimes you're far away, and it's like you play these little. I guess it's like a game of.
I think it's the receiver died. I think that's what it is. I have to like charge it, I guess, but whatever. It's okay.
But yeah, that's probably. I mean, that's the only thing I know about romance. It's like a push and pull. It's like a rubber band,
Yeah.
If it doesn't move enough, it cracks, and if it moves too much, it breaks. But if you use it for what it's useful for, I guess. I mean, then it's bad analogy. But
I mean, so basically what it is like. I think this is the optimal relationship where you have like this balance between nurture and challenge, where you maintain the tension between like positive and negative interactions, or like the line of being too nice, right, and the line of being too mean at the same time. Maintain tension between those two lines at the same time, and that's like optimum. And so it's just like when you have that, and also a sexual relationship, we call that romance. And that's basically what it is. And also like I think that like so Gottman again, I haven't really looked that deeply into Gottman, but I like so he's like 20-to-1 as at the outset, and then 5-to-1 as like the minimum of like positive and negative interactions. And my theory is basically that like well, first of all you have to take it as an average over time, but
And that's also with friendships too, he said?
it's just relationships.
Okay.
That's how I haven't really looked that deeply into it. I think his research was primarily in the context of marriages.
Okay.
But yeah, so
Yeah, because I'm thinking of like I know people who are extremely conflict avoidant, right? And their friends are conflict avoidant, and their friends will literally smile to the devil just so they can get along with them, right? And I'm like, oh, these people have been friends forever, and they've never like even had a disagreement. So I'm trying to think like if that follows suit with friendships as well, or if it's just a romance thing, which I wouldn't know, but
so what was I gonna say? But yeah, I think that so like honestly, so like I think like 20-to-1 is like this is sort of just like theoretical because I think his relationship, his context was marriages. But I think like in generally just like any relationship, the most shallow friendship, like the way you know that it's real is because there's a little bit of pushback, and I think like the more pushback that there is, like the more usually the more it means that there is like chemistry. And I think like often I think if I'm like really flirting hard with a girl, that usually it's more than that. It's more than 5-to-1. It's usually like 2-to-1. Like really being aggressively challenging to each other. And but usually that's like what makes it fun. That's what makes it like it's like the most fun type of interaction in my opinion. I think it's actually it's more like a global average because I think that like yeah you probably do need to like back off to something that's more like 5-to-1, but especially like in the early beginning stages it's usually just like really like fierce and intense and fun because we're really going at it hammer and tongs.
I think the fun part is what I try to aim for when I'm like flirting whatever. Like I will. For actually, matter of fact, buddy of mine, he it was. Have you heard of Time Left? It's an app where you meet up with 3 or 5 people, like 3 guys, 3 women, and they set you up with just random people. And I made friends that way. Like it's like $7, and I was sitting at this table. We had dinner, total strangers, and one of them is like, by the way, I voted for Trump. And people started looking at him like he was like evil or something. And I'm like, and I just asked him like, oh, when would you want to do that? And he started telling me, and then this girl was really upset. She was really upset, but then he was like, well, why are you so upset? And he was like, prove me wrong. Like, and it was like this back and forth. Everybody else was just quiet, just like, oh shit, But they were clearly into each other from that interaction. And it was like, at first, she just couldn't stand him. She could not stand him, but he was unfazed. He was like, tell me more, yada yada. But he was like, you can see he was playing a game with us. And I was kind of amused. I'm like, you know what? This is somebody who clearly doesn't give a shit. He's far more invested emotionally, and it's because he's being sweet to her, and she wants to be nice to him, and then it's a game, and eventually they end up I don't know what they were doing, but they got each other's number and yada yada, and I was like, that's crazy how that worked, but it's that tug of war they end up having.
Oh yeah, so this is part of my whole spiel about how to flirt, which is that if you meet somebody and you want to basically if you want to instantly establish a rapport with them, you can challenge the status quo. And by that I mean status quo is it's kind of like an imaginary line between you and what you want, right?
Okay.
And it's like if you do nothing, nothing will change, and that is the status quo, right? And so what you need to do is like challenge it somehow, like push back, create like make some friction, and that sets people at ease. It's so counterintuitive at first, but like the more you think about it, it does. It sets people at ease. It makes people like feel like you are, because like usually it's obvious, especially if you're approaching a woman that like you like her, right? Like, you know, like usually like your intention is pretty close, so she knows that you're into her, and then you challenge the status quo, and it's really she's like, oh, he's not weak, you know, right? Strong enough to watch my back, and then that's it. It's basically like how you and then you just continue from there. You have to be, because anytime you are not willing to challenge the status quo, it means that like in that particular area, you can't be.
Like you're like more of like you're more of a liability or a leech in a way, kind of, you know, like at least I've had those issues where, like with my previous relationship, like she just did everything I did. Never any pushback, and I was like, you know, it was cool and all, but like at the same time, it's like I don't know who this person is. She's trying to be like me. I don't want that. I want to know this, you know. And at first, it was very different. It was more like we were training for a race, and I hated running, you know. So like I learned running, but I was like trying to be better than her and yada yada at running. And then she was like, "Oh, you're into biking." So she was trying to get better than me at biking, and yada yada. But at some point, there was no more challenge. There was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. And if you're biking, I'm biking with you. I'm not going to try to bike further or harder. If I'm running, I'm just going to run in my own pace. You know, it wasn't like there was no challenge anymore. You know, and then at some point, there was resentment, and I think that's just due to the fact that people can be a bit complacent. They want life to go like this because there's excitement, there's feelings, and yada yada. But when it's like this, just baseline, yeah, you can get that at a job. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be at work all the time. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't know how to put that into words though, like what that would be called or why that even happened. You know?
It's because people, you can't grow without challenge. Not being challenged, you can't grow. I think that's basically what it's like. And it's probably a topic for, or at least this is another thing. So I think that like literally, even though I told you this, I think like literally your purpose. Like people are always talking about like, you know what the purpose of life is? I think I know what the purpose of life is.
You know, shit, that's a big statement.
Yeah, but you can also tell me if you think that I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. The purpose of life is to evolve.
Evolve?
Yeah.
I
think that like literally it's the religious impulse. It's like the reason that people that religion, like all cultures and societies have religion, is because people are aware that better exists, and also you can't be aware that better exists and not pursue it without it eating of you. It like eats you from the inside. You have to become better if you know it's there. And so people are busy, and oftentimes they don't have time for it. So what they do is they create a religion, and they outsource the pursuit or the acknowledgement of better to somebody who is their full-time job to do that. It's like,
so delegating that job instead of like trying to figure it out for yourself to someone who said they figured it out for you. I get you. I always used to think my dog knew the meaning of life.
yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because he wakes up, he spins around in a bunch of circles, you know, he just does dog things, right? think every single living thing and non-living thing does the same thing, and that's spread the virus, or like water. I mean, anything. They maybe that is evolution, but they multiply, they grow, and then they consume. And that's as basic as that sounds. I think that personally is me. But maybe the better term for that is to evolve. You know, I never really thought of it that way. I've never thought too much about it actually. Like I never thought. I've been trying to think of because these are always like questions I'll never get answers from. By asking myself, what is the purpose? You know what I mean? I never really thought too deeply or heavily into that. Because I knew it would drive me fucking crazy. But anyway.
I think that's like, I don't know, so it's like, in human relationships, that's why we are always like searching for like romantic partners, or at least like it's so important to us to find a good romantic partner, because in order to grow, you need somebody who can challenge you, and usually like in order to have somebody who can challenge you, but also you can challenge them at the same time, you need somebody who's like highly complimentary, and so yeah, that's like what it is. We're searching for our complement, somebody who is like, I don't know, equal or opposites are a way to say it, but like somebody who can challenge us, who can challenge them, and mutually grow together, and yeah.
Do you think though you've had that?
What?
Do you think you've had that at some point?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
So then why did it stop?
I mean, it's complicated because I don't know, she was really great, and she challenged me a lot in a lot of ways, but eventually it sort of like came to a head. I don't know, like my life and the way that I like grew up, like left a lot of gaps in my, I don't know, my personhood. I think like there's a lot of things that I needed to like learn about and do, and there was definitely some things that like I needed to do that I think I needed to be single to do. It wasn't specifically just that, but it was like I had like this big like journey of personal growth to do, and she wasn't interested in doing it with me. She had like a direction she wanted to go in. She was like very fixated on it, and we were aligned for a while, and after a while, we weren't aligned anymore. So we were.
Oh wait, can we go upstairs at all?